pretty cold one today, but I'm going to take the Twizy out. People have been saying it's a lot of fun in the ice, but I'm not going to go stupid. I just want to take it out. So for charging the car, I've actually got this temporary measure because I haven't got a car charging point. And basically it charges off of a 13 amp plug, so you can use one of these. This is a 13 amp rated extension lead when it's unwound. It's 4 amps when it's not wound up. So if you want to use these sort of things, they generally don't recommend you using an extension lead for charging electric cars, but this draws, I think, like 10 amps from the main, so this extension lead should be fine. I've tested it, doesn't get hot, plug gets slightly warm, but that's kind of normal. Same with the bike, it's exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little top up charge, just quickly, because it's got this really cool heated windscreen, but that obviously uses quite a lot of energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug it in to the mains and give the battery a top, because it's been sat for a couple of days. I shouldn't need to bother really, but basically, yeah, the heated windshield kind of takes quite a bit of energy, so I want to just use the mains rather than using the battery to do that. So here it goes. Oh, if I turned on the extension lead as well, you can hear the fan starting to go. So you see we're at 96%. This gives you a better, this is a power box, this gives you a better idea of the state of charge. But I'm going to turn the car on, and then I'm going to turn on the heated windshield to get rid of this ice. It's actually iced on the inside as well. Pretty effective windscreen de-icer. Really impressive actually. Ready to roll. So I've got my heated gloves on. That's only because it was like -4 or something this morning. So you got this, you got the handbrake, and basically you have to push the brake pedal in, and it kind of does a little relay, or it's kind of an electric, cross between an electronic and a magnetic brake. So first of all, you've got to turn it on like a normal car, where you just basically turn the key, but it's weird because nothing really happens. And then stick it in reverse, and then you are good to roll. So he says. So here we go, guys. So you've got no heating in here, basically, which is kind of makes it more like a motorcycle, you know, than a car. And these are basic plastic windows. Oh, watch this little turn in here, it's quite dodgy. Let's pull out. Right, so we're in normal mode at the moment. I'm not going to bother with sport for the moment because it drains quite a bit more power. Just cruising along. You can see something, I don't know if you see this on the from the GoPro, but it's drawing about 130 amps, doing about 42 mile an hour. My foot is just basically touching the throttle just to maintain this speed, and then yeah, so you can hear, you know, a bit of wind noise because obviously you haven't got proper windows. You've got these like plastic window covers. Well, they're basically just like well, they don't really do a lot. They just stop the water coming in a bit, and a little bit of wind noise. But you're quite exposed. I do like this down here though. You've got like a clear kind of opaque panel that shows, well, you can just see the road through there. So that's quite nice. Suspension is rock solid, which is what you want from a little go-kart really. Brakes are hydraulic, but they're not servo assisted or anything like that, so they're completely powerless. Not saying they don't work, because they do work, because it's discs all round, but they're a bit like motorcycle brakes really. They've got no kind of assistance, but I've configured the regen on this car, so if you come off the it won't do the regen at the minute because the battery level is quite high. But basically, yeah, you can have regen on the foot brake, and you can configure that through this, which is absolutely awesome. So you can have regen on the foot brake, and also when you take your foot off the throttle, it will regen as well. And you can turn that off on the fly. Now you couldn't do that before, you can't change any of these settings without this power box here. So, you know, but I'm in normal clothes. There's no way I would be riding the bike dressed like this. I'd have these gloves on, obviously, and my coat, but I feel nice and warm. There's no issue with it at all. So, I mean, if you really want to, you could plug in like a heated seat element and just sit on that. You've got a 12-volt socket in here, but the problem with that is it's not a very high power one, and you've got a very, very small motorcycle battery which charges up off of the traction battery in the car, the main power battery, and yeah, it basically keeps that topped up. And the 12-volt battery will also charge when you're actually plugged into the mains as well. So that's pretty good. Now, I've just realised I've forgotten something. I mentioned that this car charges from a 3-pin wall plug, like just a normal plug, so you can plug it in anywhere, which is really good. The downside is most of the charging points in the UK now don't have a 3-pin plug. They just have like a socket or a Type 2 socket. So I got in touch with Symphony EV, and they've sent me this adapter which basically adapts a charging point, like a Type 2 charging socket, into a 3-pin plug, which is amazing. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet because the local point, the local charging point, which is operated by Polar, I think, that basically is not working. So yeah, you can see, I mean, it's just like driving a little go-kart. You know, I'm not going to be silly at the moment because it's a bit ice and a bit wet, but you know, I'm getting where I'm supposed to be going. We're down to 88% battery now. So let's talk about the battery. The battery inside this is a 129, this is what I've been told. If you work it out, it kind of works out right from the kilowatt hours, but it's a 6.1 kilowatt hour battery, which makes it about 120 amps, 120 amp hour battery, and it's only 60 volt. Can you believe that? So it's 60 volts, and most of the power is coming from the amps. Because it's a big capacity battery, then you know, you can actually pull quite a lot of amps from that. So you know, I've seen amps go up as high as about 400 on this when I've been giving it some welly, and it's quite interesting because this system is very intelligent. It monitors the temperature of the battery and the temperature of the motor. If anything basically gets out of control, a bit of snow falling in there, if anything gets out of control, this will basically reduce your power. So reduce the power down, or put you in another mode like eco, or if you're in sport, it will flip back to normal. So this box actually is probably more intelligent than the system that's actually in the car already. But for that, it has to be connected all the time. You can tune this car and then remove this box, but there's not really much point because you get a lovely display. I mean, you can lock it in one of these compartments if you're worried about it getting stolen. But basically, yeah, it works really well. So yeah, I mean, on the screen here it's showing I've got 29 mile, 30 mile range, which doesn't seem like a lot, but generally I think this is on the meter side. This probably doesn't want to say 50 because just in case you really trust it, but I'm still getting a feel for how it kind of works. But you know, you can see you're drawing quite a bit of current. You know, we're nearly up in the 100 amps just to, you know, kind of maintain the speed. So 100 between 100 and 150 amps right this very moment to do 34 miles an hour. So I mean, it works fantastically well. So steering is very, very, I mean, it feels very, very good. I'm really impressed with this car. I mean, it's just like nothing I've ever driven before. It's you know, it's like a cross between a go-kart and a quad bike. I mean, it's just brilliant. And the fact that you've got this you know, this windshield, it keeps you out of the cold. I mean, I can see my breath, but I'm not cold. I mean, it's, you know, there's no air coming in. I mean, this is open here, but there's not really much air coming in. You start noticing it about 60 mile an hour if you get up that speed. You know, it's probably between 40, 50, 60 mile an hour. You start getting a bit of wind coming in. But other than that, you know, it's sort of fine. These gloves are fantastic as well. Might be a little bit big on the big side for driving a car, but yeah, it's going good. So I just come around to the other car park. I have to get a ticket here, which is a bit annoying. Right, I'm going to put to the shop and I'll catch you in a second. Right, so I've got my stuff, fits nicely in the back. This is actually a rear seat, but you can actually get someone in here. I haven't tried it yet, but apparently you can. It does work. So yeah, time to head back. So we've gone up to 34 miles now on that. I've actually got some other errands to do, but I'm going to go home first because I'm starving and Sarah's hungry as well. So I'm going to take some stuff back home, make a bit of lunch, and then come back out again. It's a great thing about little electric cars. Right, let's get on the road again. Handbrake off. Always forget to actually start the car. Right, there we go. It's quite fun on this ice actually. Let's have a little mess around. Whoa! It's good for practicing, I'll say that. Oh yeah.
Can you tell me how much one of them cost?
So much fun. It's so much fun.
See that?
It's like a bike basically. It's like a motorbike rather than a car.
You have to tax and no insurance.
No tax because it's electric.
Yeah.
Electric. Yeah. And insurance is well, just like a motorbike really. It's not too bad. But you just plug it into the wall, it charges up. Yeah. And then you get about 40, 50 miles.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Hello.
See you later. So there, right there is a perfect example of what happens every time I go out. Without fail, someone that will literally be like, oh yeah, what's that? How does that work then? But it's a good bit of fun. The funny thing is as well, most people think that they're just completely slow as hell, and then when you're actually at the traffic lights, maybe later on I'll go to the supermarket because there's a couple of bits I couldn't get, so maybe later on I'll show you what happens at the traffic lights, stuff like that. It's quite hilarious, the sort of attention you get, and jovial things with people in vans hanging out the window going, oh mate, yeah, what's that about then? But it's good. I love this heated windshield. It's just fantastic. I mean, it's not doesn't look like it's doing much at the moment, but once it kicks in, it is fantastic. I've got my cloth here.
I don't understand this name.
So that's the parrot making that noise. This is an option on these cars, which is quite expensive option actually. This car came with it. All I had to do was change the battery on the key fob thing, and it started to work again. So pick up a bit of speed. You see, like hills, just breezes up them. Looking forward to showing you guys what this can do when it's a bit drier, and show you more about the acceleration. At the moment I'm just taking it pretty easy. It's pretty icy. I'm still learning about the car and just sort of figuring it out really. But I mean, the first week that I got it, it was actually dry, and yeah, it was just, you find find yourself, as you're coming towards roundabouts, you just get really excited because you see the roundabout and you see the bend and you think, yeah, and you just don't bother slowing down. Obviously when it's dry and you know, it's quite warm, it's a lot better. But fantastic little car though. Just got to be careful. Sound of it as well. The sound of it is really good. Apparently you are supposed to change the gearbox oil. They recommend when you tune these, changing the gearbox oil to the actual oil that the manufacturer of the gearbox, which isn't Renault, recommend. And apparently it's better if you're running higher power, but also it's a bit quieter as well. Now this car probably isn't for everyone. I mean, if you're looking for a sort of cheap form of transport and you are probably more akin to riding a motorbike, this would be ideal. But yeah, if you're kind of coming from the creature comforts of a car, I mean, I've got a Range Rover and obviously it is like a private jet compared to this, but it's just boring. I love it. I love the car and it's perfect for this weather. Like, you know, we had absolutely no problem the other day going up the road in the snow. It's lovely and warm, and yeah, it's just brilliant. But this is like a kit car. The only thing that I can describe it as is either a go-kart or a kit car. So the power's right there, right on the accelerator. All you've got to do is touch it and it will go. But it's not over sensitive. It's got a nice soft start. What are you doing? It's a little bit more wear than you are in a normal car, especially my car, because I'll probably just go through anything if something pulled out of me. But in this, it will not protect you at all. Although I have seen someone. There was a video on YouTube where someone went into a roundabout too quick, cut someone up, and they flipped it, and he was upside down, and he got out, and there was nothing wrong with him at all. So it does seem to, it can skid along on its roof if it needs to. Oh, I would not want to be doing that today. First got this and I tried this with obviously just as standard. I test drove it without any modification, obviously, and actually, going off on a tangent, if you're going to buy one of these, get one of these boxes before you buy it, because it actually tells you the battery health. So you can plug this in and it actually tells you the battery percentage health, and this was saying 100%, so that was all good. But yeah, what I was saying, the difference between this with this box and without it is that you can literally move your foot on the throttle and you don't feel any difference. You know, that's the car in standard form. But with this, you just slightly tap the throttle and you get in a response. I'm just not giving it too much. Just taking it easy. Quite a bit of salt on this road as well. Just a lot of fun, and you can go and do your little you can go and do your bits down the shops, and then and have fun while you're doing it. See, the bike is fantastic, but I wouldn't want to be coming out in this weather just to do errands. I'd just end up taking the car and it's just a waste. Now I've got this, drive this all the time. And we're back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on charge. We're only at 70%, but I'm going to stick it on charge anyway. So it's ready for the next little outing. Right, I'm back out again. This time, just come out to Tesco's to try and get some bits that I couldn't get earlier. And yeah, I've bought the Twizy again. More shopping in the back. Oh. Right, so yeah, I don't know if you can see me because I'm on the GoPro and the low light is pretty rubbish. Apart from this person's headlights in my face now, which might work. Well, apart from wanting to take this car out all the time, I've actually done a modification to the headlights already, because the standard headlights are just like H4 bulbs with like the tiny little side lights. So yeah, they were pretty naff. I was driving around with them for a little while and it was just like this yellow foggy glow in front. I mean, the headlights, what's going on there? Like the headlights themselves are actually like, they're like sort of, they say motorcycle headlights on the front. So all I did was basically just change over the bulbs, just put these LED headlight bulbs in there, which is crazy because I better start this actually. Yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, H4 bulbs have just come so far. I can't even believe how far it's all come since I last looked at it, because obviously my car's got HIDs, which are not great actually in this day and age really. LEDs are much better, but like the fact that you can get just like an LED H4 bulb and it's got a fan on the back of it, it's just, oh, it's unbelievable really. Really cool. So yeah, I put them in. I had a bit of an issue with like orientation on them at first. And they were like, yeah, the beam was going everywhere, everyone was flashing me, so I had to kind of change them around, but they don't fit perfectly in, so I've got to do some more modifications. I actually ordered 2 pairs just to see which ones are. I've got reversing lights on in the car in front of me, which is really helping my situation. Yeah, so I bought 2 sets of them just to try, because the first set didn't really fit properly, and the second set, it turns out they don't fit, but they fit better, but they need to be filed, so it's another job. But anyway, I've got them in, got the angles right, and it seems okay. They seem okay. Nobody's flashed me, but it hasn't been dark until yet. So anyway, right, so I'm going to head back home. It's saying 19 miles left on the clock. We're at 62% battery. I don't know how far this is. I must have done about 20 miles or something so far in this afternoon. It was light when I came out, and yeah, I'm just going to wet my heated gloves on and hit the road. So check this out, side lights on at the moment, and then dipped beam. It looks pretty insane, looks pretty intense. So when I got back earlier, I looked at the footage, and just quickly, just as I always do, just to check it, and I noticed that my camera was pointing up in the air, so apologies for that. You couldn't see any of this here, but you obviously seen what was going straight out. So this time I'll try and do something a bit better. I'll try and do a bit better than that. Right, all the windows are shut, everything's looking good. I need to reverse out of here. Surprisingly, it doesn't, because of the size of this car, it doesn't really bother me not being able to see out the back, because there's no rear window, so this is the way. I don't think we do any car park antics, not in here. Too many cars, although at the end it's quite good, quite empty. Anyway, I just need to get out of here and get home, I think. Good thing is you virtually don't have to use the brakes at all, because your regen braking just slows you right down. As I was saying before, the regen only works when the battery level is a little bit lower, you know, than, I don't know, it seems like 95% or something like that. Once it's gone below that, it seems to activate. Obviously that's the same as the e-bike, you don't want it, you know, charging up the or overcharging the battery. The regen, I think, is somewhere around 150 amps going back into the battery, so it's quite a lot. obviously with this you don't need to worry too much about the, you know, the size of the cable and stuff like that, because it's designed for about 400 amps plus 400 amps. When you put it in the top sport mode, you get a little stoplight come up on here, like almost like your engine management failure light. It comes on, and apparently the reason for that is the fault code for that is actually telling you that you're drawing the maximum amps from the battery, which is about 450 amps, I think. So apparently it's nothing bad. It's just telling you that you're drawing that. So I've had that happen a couple of times on the sport mode, but you know, it's nothing to really worry about. So they say. I've only had a thermal rollback on the motor once when I was on a dual carriageway flat out, and it seems to do about 65 mile an hour, and it creeps up to, oh, so good, just feels so good, so quick. Yeah, it seems to top out about sort of 65. It'll roll on a bit higher, but you know, you won't get up there easily. It's the wind resistance as well. I think when you start, we found this with the e-bike, when you start getting to a certain point, you've got to put in way loads more power to actually just add 10 mile an hour more, just because of the wind resistance and everything else. So when people ask you how fast it can, you say it does about 60, 70, they're like, really? Like they almost like sound surprised. Right, I'm going to go back this way. Actually, that was the way I was going to go anyway. So you can see it's easily keeping up with the flow of traffic. My foot is just probably about a quarter of the way down. We're doing 45 mile an hour. So, you know, for around town it's absolutely fine. I've been on the dual carriageway, as I say, absolutely no issues at all. You just, obviously, if you went on the motorway, you're not going to be able to sit in the outside lane. I'd like to get it to a point where it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, 90 mile an hour, but I feel like the design of it is wrong, because it's very draggy. It's not a slippery car, or it's not a slippery shape. It's quite it's a bit like so it's like a motorcycle, really. I don't know how aerodynamic they are. Obviously, if you stick your head down under the visor and, you know, stick all your bits in, then you're probably quite aerodynamic on a bike, I would have thought. But on this, it's probably as good as you can get for something, you know, what it is. It would be cool if there was, you know, another car like this that was actually, you know, a bit lower. You were lower, seating position down to the ground, almost like a miniature aerial atom that's electric. But then you're losing your almost like your comfort factor. I think this is a really good compromise between everything. You're shielded from the elements. You know, it's small, it's light, it runs on, you know, not much power. You know, it can get from A to B pretty efficiently. So yeah, stuck in traffic, but really much you can do. I've been tempted a couple of times to go round everything. This road's a bit too narrow, but certainly in some places you can do it in this, because it's quite narrow. It's quite cheeky, but it's a quadricycle at the end of the day, so you know, you might be able to get away with that. So I'm going to go back this way, because I really want to see what these headlights look like in the dark. Got little wheel spinners in. So bear in mind I'm in normal mode as well, so this isn't even the fast mode. The way you change these modes is really quite cool. It's got a little key fob with A, B, C and D on it, and you just basically, to navigate this system here on this screen, this power box, you use the little key fob to go through the settings, and you can do it with basically 4 keys. I think the previous version of this power box had the buttons on the front, but for some reason he's gone to using the key fob. It's easier to make, maybe, I don't know, but it works very well. But it just means you can't, you have to put your hand in your pocket or grab your key fob. I don't like having key fobs on the key of the car because it rattles around and it smacks against the inside of the car and causes loads of scratches on the dash. I've never liked doing that, but yeah, it's easy enough. It just means at the moment, see, I've got these gloves and I can't reach for that little key fob thing and show you the sport mode. But I'll do that next time anyway. It's like pretty wet and horrible out here. So down to 53% battery. It's still saying I've got 20 miles on the clock there. So anyone that's interested in all this, there's a really great forum called EV Owners. When I first found the forum, I don't know why I didn't really look at it, but I found it and I thought it said Evo Owners, and I was thinking, why is there a forum for Evos and it's about electrics? But then I twigged that it's actually EV Owners, electric vehicle owners. So yeah, go and check that out there, because the Twizy really features, there's a real strong little community on there. I mean, these guys are like hardcore Twizy owners that have been doing it for, you know, a long time. Ah, I've just remembered, actually. I've just remembered something. I can go back to that little charge point and see if it works, because I've got a charge thing now. I've got my lead in the car. It's very nippy in this little normal mode. What's weird as well is you see the cars in front of you pulling away, and you're pulling away the same as them, even though their engines are obviously way bigger, running more horsepower. Obviously the vehicles are heavier, but it seems no effort to just catch up with it. But it also doesn't feel like you're actually in a vehicle that's weighs, you know, probably like a third of what some of these cars weigh. So it's quite interesting. It almost makes you think, why are cars so big? Right, so so good. I'm expecting this acceleration and everything else to improve when the weather warms up as well, because the batteries obviously deliver a bit more capacity, a bit more power, everything else. Right, let's see. Let's just bowl down here on the wrong side of the road and see what we can do. This guy looks like he's got some pretty impressive lights. When people just look at this thing, just go, what on earth is that? Alright, so here we go, guys. This will be an interesting little test. See if this works. See, I don't know if you can hear the fans on the headlights, because the headlights are basically the back of the headlights. Whack my head on that. And the back of the headlights is just somewhere round by the back of the dash. So, yeah, you're pretty much very close to everything in this car. So, set the gloves off for a sec. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find my, where did I stick it? So this is basically a type 2 connector to a 3-pin. See that? So in theory what you're supposed to do is just go bosh in there, get our card, hold that over there, oh, that's saying there, connect vehicle to either socket, and then get our socket out of here, plug it into there, and then go inside here and see what's happening. There you go, it's charging. How cool is that? So this screen here shows you, whoa, that's shot up then. So yeah, this screen here shows you your state of charge, and you can see it going up. So basically 47.9597, and that's sort of ticking up. This you obviously you're not going to see if you don't have one of these boxes. You'll just see this on the car, so you just see this charging thing going up. But I mean, there you go, pretty cool, eh? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that there for a minute, let that charge up. Now I don't really know how this works. I don't know if I've still got to pay for parking, I don't know, but this seems to be working. I don't even know how much this costs, but it looks pretty cool. Seems to charge quicker than it does at home as well. Right, it seems to be working anyway. So I'm not sure how it go about terminating the charge here. Do you just pull this out? It's locked in there, as I expected. So in order to stop the charge, maybe just stop it with this. So disconnect vehicle and close flat. So that's how you do it. And just take it out, and you can put this thing back in the car. Right, back at home now. How cool was that? How cool was that, charging that from that charging station? I mean, I suppose you'd kind of expect it. You charge an electric vehicle from an electric vehicle charging point, but the Twizy is slightly different because it's got a 3-pin plug. So in order to charge it from the, just like a normal charge point for electric vehicles, you do need that adapter. There's no way around it. But this is turning into a bit of a learning curve for me because I haven't had an electric car before. So the whole sort of charging infrastructure, charging whilst you're out and about, I wanted to kind of learn how it worked. And it's a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. Like, it seems a bit of a mess. Like, I don't know, on the surface, just coming to it from someone that's not done this before, it looks like there's lots of different points, there's lots of different charging points. It's probably going to be pretty confusing if you don't know what you're doing. But I've today obviously managed to use the Polar network, and there's quite a lot of those. If you look on the app or even their mobile website, then yeah, you can see all the charging points. And before I'd done that, I'd actually applied for a RFID card, just like a swipe card, and that's what I was using to activate the charger. But the first time I tried it didn't work, and then they sent me another card, and then the charger wasn't working after that. So I thought, this is great. Like, there's no chance I'm going to be kind of going out of the range of the car, because the car range is quite limited, like 40-50 miles. So if you're going 30 miles on a trip, you want to make sure you're going to be able to get back. So the idea was, I was thinking, yeah, I would chance like a long distance journey of like 30, 40 odd miles, but I need to know that I can definitely charge it. Whereas some of the other cars have got like 100-mile range. Some of the big cars like the Leafs and stuff like that, more than 100-mile range. So you're going to be all right. You're not going to have that problem. But when it comes to the little Twizy, you really need those chargers to work. So that's quite promising today, just seeing that charger working, getting a charge in there, and actually it's going up a little bit. The charge rate seems to be going up a little bit quicker than normal home charging, which I suppose it's got a better feed and being right next to a train station, and also we're not using this extension lead. But I suppose the thought process with the Twizy is that I would be able to charge it. I would be able to blag a charge from somewhere, like, just give them a couple of quid or something, just at a shop or a pub, extension lead, track it for a pub window, somebody's mentioned before, that sort of thing. So I don't think realistically it's going to be a problem. But for my secondary vehicle, if Sarah goes out, she takes the Range Rover, that goes, that goes. So then if I need to go anywhere, or I've been using the bike, or now obviously I'll use the Twizy. So And you know, I could have just gone and got like a Leaf or something like that. But to be honest, those cars were a bit boring to me. Like I wanted something with a bit more character. And you know, the Tesla's nice, but you'll be looking at like a mortgage payment every month. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. It's probably a bit of a long one. I'm going to try and edit it down as much as I can, but I was waffling so much in some of those driving clips. So hopefully it won't be boring by the time I finish editing it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you again in the next one.